Shut up and sit down.
Hey, and welcome to the Freja MMA podcast. Join us in our discussion about the beautiful sport which is mixed martial arts.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Freja MMA podcast. I am Reza Pettersson, and today we're speaking Bare Knuckle Boxing, and more specifically Ragnarok Bare Knuckle Boxing, which is coming to you live from Norway on the 21st of August. I'm sure this is going to be an incredible show. It's the first time that Bare Knuckle Boxing is coming from Norway, and it's quite an interesting story of how we got here anyway. I have both promoters from Ragnarok here with me today, Stan von Hofstædter and Andrew Bakewell, who speak about the headache that it came to get this show on the road and what you should expect from Norway's first bare knuckle boxing event. So here's the interview with Ragnarok. Andrew and Stan, how are you both doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, good. A little bit stressed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be with an event like this. So if you want to just give the people watching a little introduction on who you both are and what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Bakewell from England, co-owner of Ragnarok with my partner Stan. Stan.
That's it. I'm Stan, Stanley von Hofstædter from Norway. I founded, I wrote the show. So before we started, so I got a great partner in Andrew. Of course, you need to be. It's good to be two. If you need somebody to get the fighters and somebody to do the story, you got yourself a great start. So that's how it started.
And then that sounds like a great segue into what's coming next, and that's Ragnarok Bare Knuckle Boxing, which is coming live from Norway's Kristiansand Congress Center on the 21st of August. First of all, congratulations on getting this event up and running during this pandemic time, and especially in Norway. Just give us a bit of how the headache was getting this event started.
Yeah, I can do that. It's always good to start with the hardest country. So you everything else would be like a piece of cake. But it's like you say, in Norway, it's very hard to get things through. Boxing was allowed in Norway in 2016. So then it was only North Korea and Norway that didn't allow boxing. So of course it's a twisted country, and it's mostly run by the National Athletics Department combined with the Amateur Boxing Association. So they make hell for like MMA and Thai boxing. So it's been hell.
Yeah, I've had some bad words for them on this podcast, I can tell you that. But I feel like this is a step in the right direction, would you say?
Yeah, it is. I can tell you how we got it through, or how it started, because it started actually when I was fighting I was the first professional fighter from Norway to fight professional bare knuckle boxing, and all the times that I got a lot of attention. I got a lot of TV and media, more than the English guys I used to. I got very much, but every time I had something coming, the boxing association was always out commenting that it was, it's not regulated, it's brutal and all these things. And by pissing me off enough, I just wanted to find out what the hell is regulated. So I went in Googling, and I found out to get something regulated, you need an association with the right rules of association. And if you have that, you have something that can regulate bare knuckle boxing. The problem was getting that through, because you go onto the government's page and you apply for an association, and you fill in this rules of association that needs to be there, and also how you're going to set it up, of course, with all the leader and next leader and all that things with voting and everything. But just getting the right rules of association, I tried 7 or 8 times. I applied, and I think it went about 6-7 months because there's 3 weeks before we get the answer. And I just thought, the last time I thought, what the hell is wrong here? Because I felt it was really good. And then I went into boxing's sites and saw what they had. And I thought, what the hell? I copied those. I copied them over and didn't see if they were going to treat me differently. But I also noticed that time that there was nothing about gloves. So I thought, shit, this is how we can regulate bare knuckle boxing. And it went through. And Norway exploded with newspapers. And I did not know then how big it was, but I knew afterwards why they were angry.
But I guess all publicity is good publicity as well, right?
Yeah, but we start off with having the whole country against you. That's pretty hard. So yeah.
But as well in Norway, they are the people that love combat sports. I mean, there's such a massive following of boxing and MMA and most combat sports from Norway. So I feel like it's going in the right direction here. And you, Andrew, you have an association in the UK with bare knuckle boxing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a company called Bare Boxing Association. We've been running about 4 or 5 years now.
How did that go about? Was it also the same kind of headache to get that started in the beginning?
No, the legal side of it's a bit different over here. It's a bit of a grey area. It's more the local councils and stuff that'll put a roadblock in the way, stopping you using venues. The licensing departments over here will stop you. They just, because they don't want it in their town. They don't have the people you're dealing with are just they don't know anything about combat sports in general. So when you mention like the bare knuckle boxing, you got some like 60-year-old woman who doesn't know anything about it, and they just assume the worst without even looking into it. So they can cause you headaches. It's Bolton have put a stop to us doing shows over here just for the licensing department, but yeah, we can do them in towns like Blackpool, Manchester. It's just all depends who you work with.
I guess before we get into the nitty gritty of exactly the process here, I guess it's the same outlook as MMA had in the beginning, and probably still does in some people's eyes. They see it as a brutal sport, or not even a sport. They just see it as a brutal event or show kind of thing. But
yeah,
like you're saying, there are mixed martial artists, there are professional boxers that are looking to get into this, and that should be a regulated sport, like you're saying.
Yeah, the level of this sport's going up all the time. You're getting a lot of the UFC fighters going over to companies in America. The standard's it's just going mainstream all the time. It's just, I mean, in this country, in England, it's exactly the same place as MMA was like 10, 15 years ago. Now it's a pretty like fully accepted sport over here. But at the beginning, there weren't many gyms about that used to teach it. There weren't many places you could go and watch it or compete in it either. So it's just going to follow that sort of a pathway, I think, everywhere. It's only a matter of time before it opens up worldwide, which what we're trying to do with Ragnarok. Take it to all the different countries and create a massive event worldwide.
Another thing is that we, while doing this, creating Ragnarok, which exploded, as you may have seen, it occurred to us that we needed something. So we felt that bare knuckle boxing has been not bad, but could be better regulated. So by looking through it, because it's a gray area in many countries. So while we first were on this shit by doing it so 100% legal by every centimeter we went, I just thought, okay, we don't have, and that's the same thing with MMA. You don't have like a world rule set, which is the same for everybody, just like boxing has. They have the AIBA rules, the professional and ordinary AIBA rules that follows like a straight line all the way to the Olympics. So you have MMA, you have the UFC, have their own rules, and so and so. That's what they are holding it back in Norway. They're saying that you don't have any rule set for MMA, so you have to go in and do it amateur way. But should you turn professional, you're basically out there. But like us then, well, we were looking at this, and if we felt it was bad regulated, I thought that what the hell? Let's just start a World Bare Knuckle Fighting Organization. We started a World Bare Knuckle Fighting Organization. And of course, you need competition rules. So who is better to contact than to AIBA? So by talking to them and being allowed to use them, we only needed to change 2 rules. That was the time, the 3 rounds, and the time on the fights. Like it's 10 minutes for finals or 6 minutes for ordinary fights. And so we deducted the time, which is the most crucial thing about the deaths and the brain damages. And we took off the gloves, which is of course again proven now that it's less dangerous to fight without gloves than gloves.
There's a lot of talk about that. I remember on the Joe Rogan podcast him saying that, you know, you do hit harder when you know that your hands are protected. Is this also a reason why we see a lot of MMA fighters coming over to bare knuckle boxing rather than boxers themselves?
Yeah, I think the MMA style suits more to bare knuckle boxing than traditional boxing does. Just the defense, the striking side of things.
And also
movement. I mean, but traditional boxing defense doesn't work the same way in bare knuckle boxing. The gloves, obviously, there is no gloves, so shots get through. A shot that would usually get defended by someone with gloves on. So small movement with your feet, head movement, low hands, so you got fast hands.
Yeah, and the crucial thing about the difference is that with boxing gloves, you know, when it started with the Marcus of Queensberry rules in 1885, before that there was not noted any deaths. But okay, that's old news, that. But after they started, people started popping up dead everywhere, and that is because the gloves are not to protect the guy you hit; it's to protect your hands. Then it makes it a little bit different to think about it, because you also are scored highest when hitting the head. So when the fight turned out to go from 30 hits in the head, like a bare knuckle, to 550 to 750 per fight, then there should have been a warning sign telling me, shit, this is not going to be good. And by knowing that you hit harder with gloves, and it takes a longer time to get cut, you know, which is the reason why we stop fights with gloves. That makes it even worse. So that's why they have 2,000 deaths, and we still have 0 in bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, people quit in bare knuckle boxing long before they're stopped, knocked out, or they'll cut or get just the shots will just make them quit. Yeah,
and the only way to the most normal way, 99%. I'm pretty good with those numbers, but I don't remember exact. But about 99% of the deaths are because of a brain swelling up, hitting the swelling up brain, or it's a brain bleeding. And those are only performed by numerous blows to the head, which you don't get in bare knuckle boxing. You don't even get the same hits in one fight in the whole life in bare knuckle boxing that you do in one fight in boxing. So it's that's why you don't see any brain damages. We don't see any deaths. So being more safe and more action, I think that's what's taking off.
Yeah, definitely. And I apologize if I keep going to MMA, but that again is my reference point of you know, it is the Freja MMA podcast. But
But I have enough to say about MMA, how they've been treated in Norway as well. So it's you just ask questions, we can get the answers.
But like you're saying, there has been many deaths in boxing, and there are many brain injuries and careers changed and things like that. But you don't see it that often in MMA, because a lot of people say because of the smaller gloves, and it's a bit more safer that way, as well as their rule set of, you know, you can't be knocked down. And
and also you have kicks and groundwork as well, so you don't get the same amount of hits to the head.
Same in Thai boxing. I come from a Thai boxing background, and you very rarely hear about any deaths anywhere in Thai boxing. It's a very rare thing, because the body's taking a lot more punishment all over instead of just taking constant blows to the head.
See, I'm good with these things because I've been preparing. In CNN did a story here 2 years ago where the headline was, a boxer dies every third week a year on a world-based level. So that's pretty high, and even higher if you look at the brain damages that they tested 2 years ago. They tested 224 experts who just finished their career, and 112 are proven to have brain damage without going further into the scans. They were just proven brain damage. So that's half of every pro that finished with career is brain damaged. That's 1 out of 2. So that's and just being like they are standing here in Norway and pointing at MMA is dangerous and bare knuckle is dangerous. That's pretty ironic.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what's causing a little bit of anger issues.
And I ask you, Stan,
sometimes.
from your side, because you've obviously been living in the country for a long time and know the sports. Is it the kind of thing of you have big boxes there like Breakhouse and things like that helped get boxing into the country? Is it a thing of the fame of those athletes that are actually bringing it into the country rather than them looking at the sport?
I gotta be careful what I say now, but Breckus is an amazing fighter, and but Breckus was not living in Norway at the time that Norway did this. But the prime minister is from Belgium, and the same as Breckus. And there was also a reason why the Norwegian Professional Boxing Association laid in a protest why they could go through. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, so I don't piss off the whole Norway.
But there's always been talks about if Norway does have the next big MMA star, that maybe MMA will finally be accepted in Norway after that.
Yeah, but it is the problem is that you can train MMA. That's not a problem. We have one amazing gym in Oslo. That's the MMA guys are. You have your co guy here with Jack Hamilton. He's a Swedish and Norwegian, or he lives in. How does that work? Yeah, but we got good stars. We have had him in MEC. We have a lot of people coming up, and just if you can train there and you can go overseas or go to Sweden and fight and come back with the flag on the chest and we put you in a newspaper and all that shit, why the hell don't you just put illegal in your country? It's but it's boxing was first, and it's the last 6 months you can see how corrupted it is. I tried to use another word, but yeah, how corrupt it is. And that there's so many to get to an approval, just to go to the application form, you have to have an approved association, which I got because I slipped in the back way on their behalf. The only way to get in is through that boxing things. The MMA guys doesn't get that approved because of the I think it's because of the rules of competition rules, and they don't have enough experience, they say, because they only follow boxing. And another thing, why is boxing even they're considering if they can be approved or not, because they're a sport themselves. So I don't see the case here. But what they have done is when you get the association when you get the forms you're going to fill in, then you suddenly see that 7 of the questions you're going to fill up is the answers, which is in the rules of association of boxing, which they had 5 years before. So they had the answer 5 years before the questions came. And that is at least what you can say. It's remarkable to do that.
And Andrew, I'll talk to you a bit and get a few of your answers here. I'll be honest with saying that in the beginning I was also a bit of a skeptic on bare knuckle boxing because you know it's something that's new to the world. It's there is a bit more cuts and everything, so I was a bit of a skeptic coming over from MMA, and I'm also not a huge fan of boxing because I feel like there is maybe a bit too much money being put into it now. Why should people watch bare knuckle boxing?
It's the most exciting sport there is at the minute. It's just people have got bored of glove boxing. It's pretty. Yeah, unless you're watching the headline fight on a show, you can pretty much read what's going to happen within an actual event. People want to try the most exciting form of whatever they're doing as well. So people got a bit bored with glove boxing. It's something new, exciting. All fights are exciting. They use the stoppages in most fights, cuts, or you never know what's going to happen. There's that many different styles of it as well. With the MMA lads competing against the boxing lads, and you've got the more traditional sort of like just your average, just local tough guys. You know what I mean? I mean, the styles, all the different styles clash. It's a completely different thing to watch.
Yeah. And of course, with it's from 0 to 100 from the start. It's like Andrew says, it's very rare it finish after 3 rounds. That's only 3 times 2 minutes, And if it's finished, if it should be finished, it's exactly as hell. But you also get 13 fights, 10 fights in a night instead of one fight, like you do in boxing. So it's yeah, it's you should. If you see if the guys who come to the shows, they see that okay, it's more blood, but it's less dangerous. You can always fix a cut and bruises, but you can't fix a mashed up brain. So it's
I've fought on about 10 shows in England now, and we've had like one actual serious break. Someone broke the cheekbone, but that was it. That's been it. And I think there's only been about 2 broken hands in like 10 shows. And we always have about 10, 15 fights a show over here. So I think it's more superficial injuries and cuts. Pete, like I said, that the pain of the actual shot itself will stop somebody before they actually get seriously hurt.
And as well, how would you say that professional boxing is going at the moment? Because I know that in the years it has dipped up and down with the stars. And like you're saying, when watching boxing now, you just kind of watch the main event, and then the undercard kind of goes without any crowd, kind of thing.
Yeah, the undercard is kind of like they're always just bleeding through you, sort of the next big thing, aren't they? So it's rare. There's a bit of a surprise within the undercard. The main event's always worth watching, but I don't think many people actually, unless you're a proper true boxing fan, you never really tune in for the undercard.
Yeah, and in boxing, it should give you a little notice when you see that now there's nothing more to play on. So now they're bringing YouTube stars and everything and put in. Just like nothing against McGregor, but McGregor got the 50th fight of Mayweather. There was probably a lot of people waiting in line there to have that fight. So now it's just about the money in the show and the pay-per-views. So it's I think that's a sign of we don't have any more to give you.
And now that you've touched on it, I'm gonna have to ask, what's your thoughts on these YouTubers that are coming into boxing, and is the door open for bare knuckle boxing for them as well?
Well, so it's already happening on BKFC over there. BKFC have got a load of sort of minor celebrities fighting on their next show in America. I don't know. It brings a young crowd into the sport, but I don't know. Not proper fight fans don't want to see it. It's just 2 clowns going at it.
How do you do that about ranking and everything? How do you do that? If you have a ranking set, how doesn't that fuck it up?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So Ragnarok BKB 21st of August is going to be your first event, and as we said, it's coming from Norway. Whose idea was it to start this on the Scandinavian shores and have this Viking-like Norse theme?
Stan's. It was all Stan's idea. He came to me.
I am from Norway, so that's if I wasn't from Norway, it would never have been started here. I can tell you, but it clashes good with the Viking team. Then that's why we can use the Viking team, and it's ours. It still will be hard to steal that away from us, and that gives us an excellent start off because he is from England and I'm from Norway. We have 2 platforms to play on all the time. If we were to be in the same country, we wouldn't have that same reach. So, and it's Vikings are they're on top at these days. So it's been a ride with a steep climb. So yeah.
So I'll hand it over to you to go through the card a bit and what people could expect on the 21st of August.
Yeah, I mean we've got 3 title fights. We've got world title fight. The headline fight is Shannon Mitch versus Gaz Corrin. Shannon's fucking absolute legend in the sport. He's been fighting for years. He's won pretty much everything you could possibly want to win. He's fought Pride. He's BKFC's ex-world champion. He's fought everywhere. Won. He's like 8-time world champion MMA.
Does he not have the record for the most fights, MMA fights?
He sent me them over actually the other day. His records. There's about 5. He's in the top 5 of like 5 different all-time records of like submissions, like leg lock submissions, knockouts, fights. He's an absolute legend in the sport. Then he's fighting against Gaz Corrin, who's basically kind of a younger version of Shannon. Really, it's Gaz has got a world title over in England in bare knuckle boxing. He's got the British liftweight title. He's a strong lad, very similar fighters as well, very similar size, build, weight. They're going to be pretty exposed to that one, to be honest. One of them's going to be going to bed early anyway. Then we've got European title fight. We've got Simon Hendrickson and Luke Atkins. Them two again. That's going to be another wild fight. That's the two very similar guys. Them two are just really big, strong, wild guys. Luke's got a two-time world champion over in England. Then you've got Simon. He's like 5-0 on. He's previously fought on Kings of the Streets over in Sweden, but he's coming signing for us now. They're just two crazy guys who they will just go at it hell for leather. Then we've got loads of really good fights on the card. The Viking team's really strong, but so's the England team. The England team probably have a little bit more experience in the MMA, in the bare knuckle boxing side of things, because it's been going over in England a lot longer than it has most of the rest of the world. Yeah. But all the fights are really well put together. They're as close as we could get them with the lads we had available. But yeah, I think everyone will be more than happy with what we've put together on the night. There's going to be some great fights.
Yeah, I think we have we have about 16 of the 26 are European champions, world champions, or English champions. So it's just a big range of titles coming out there, and we there's not many we're missing to have the whole. Probably have the best setup in the world altogether with the fighters. So we got a good team.
And we're happy that it's not only happening in Scandinavia but Europe as well. I mean, to put on the show showing the best that you can offer is the best that you could do, really. So Ragnarok is sounded like it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I mean, we've got shows lined up going to Poland in October. Then we're doing a show against the Irish in December. Then the French in January. Then we've got shows lined up against the South Africans, Thailand, Mexico, America, Italy, Germany. Just in talks with Turkey at the minute. So that's what's going on behind the scenes at the minute. Me and Stan are pretty busy guys.
Yeah, and all the fights are a two-way deal. Like, we come down and we bring Ragnarok to Italy, and they bring the gladiators back to us. So we have a two-way deal. So both of us will benefit from the ticket sales, and so it's working big. It's a good thing.
Yeah, we're going to stick to all the historical side of things. So every country, we're always going to like the Italians are the gladiators, the Polish, the Hussars, obviously the Vikings, the Scandinavians are the Vikings. We're going to keep down that historical route, keep it really historical battle sort of theme between the shows. Just gives it a bit more of another dimension to keep people interested. Give us a bit of national pride and stuff. Everybody wants their team to win, don't they?
Yeah, when we started talking about this, when I met Andrew, we want to. So there was no doubt that we want to have the best show in the world. That was pretty set from the start. But to have to make it a little, we want to make it different. In that case, if you look at it from America, everybody knows it's a fake, but it's a damn good story that keeps hundreds of thousands of people watching it. So if you could combine that with a great story and something that's actually real, then not a fantasy story, but something real then you could make a lot of enthusiasm in Norway. And of course, which is a better start if the English come back for revenge for what the Vikings did? That's a perfect start. And from there, we just balled it through, So it's about Vikings setting out from the country and going down Europe, facing the toughest warriors in history, of course, in bare knuckle boxing. Then, so it's that has brought a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of eyes around us. We've gotten a lot more attention than we really thought. But it's because we have a great team and a story behind it.
Yeah, definitely. And this podcast is gonna be out on Sunday, but it's already beginning now with the Vikings versus the Saxons, with England versus Denmark happening in the football. So
yeah, that's gonna be
so we don't know what's happening yet, but best man will win, I guess. So a bit more of a kind of my wondering here. How does one train bare knuckle boxing?
I mean, I've got a gym over in England. I teach some guys bare knuckle boxing. It's just it can't be. It's not really the same as traditional boxing. Like the traditional boxing guard doesn't work as well. You've got to add in the clinching side of things. It's more footwork and movement, sort of fast hands, rather than just traditional boxing, where you can stay in the pocket more, because your hands will get through the guard a lot of the time. It's more like the MMA. It's more like the MMA striking side of things. If I'm going to compare it with anything, like you'd have a lower guard usually.
I remember. I have not been so long into it, but I remember I felt like it's because you don't really have any defense. You have a defense, but you don't have a defense like what you have like in MMA or in A1 or something like that. So it's more like a duel. The first guy who gets the first hit, he is probably going to win.
Yeah. Timing's pretty important.
So do we feel like there may be some gyms opening up in Norway at some point, specifically for bare knuckle boxing, like there is in the UK?
We will open up academy here for Scandinavia in Kristiansand just over the new year, I think. So it's going to be a bare knuckle academy. I've been talking to a lot of the good coaches up here in Norway, and they also want to come down and try to what we want to try to, even though it's been a little bit boxing. I don't see boxing coming down to us, but maybe MMA on the times when times go a little bit. But I'm trying to collaborate a little bit more and just growing the sports that we have. Like MMA, they should really try to as much sport as they can do. But we will have an academy so that this is where we meet. This is the ground for bare knuckle boxing, and we will have a super gym, and we will try to bring in coaches from everywhere, bring in some of our fighters from America and some from England, of course, to have great sessions for weekends or whatever from January. So the Norwegian people are in for a good treat.
That sounds great. And again, go back to MMA. If you two can give a message to the politicians that are not allowing proper combat sports in Norway, then here's your time to say it now. If they're watching, I hope they are.
The only problem is that the MMA has been they've been directing their rage against us and bare knuckle boxing, which we find kind of unfair, but because we're not fucking up their sport. It is like I told you, we would love to collaborate with them on a later level, and of course I hope they do it. But the way I would do it to get it legalized, I would actually go in and take 3 of the sports which are Olympic sports. If you take like judo, you take full contact karate, and you take boxing, you take the rule set, put it in, and just deliver it into the board of approval, and say, okay, I want to have a sport based on this. And then you can just add a little bit more as you go along. Then you have a start. That's the thing I would have done. But they have they probably have a plan. So, but we are not the enemy. So we hope that they get it through, and I hope that they get their shows and what they deserve. So.
And you, Andrew, you got any nice words for the politicians?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have that same problem over in England. Pretty much all combat sports are legal over here. MMA, a lot of the MMA lads always come into bare knuckle boxing. People just when they want to try something different. I think in Norway, I don't understand why everything's banned. You can't just you can put all the sort of shed bad light on as much as you want. People are going to be interested in the sport. If they're going to be interested in the training it and they're going to other countries competing in it, I don't understand why you wouldn't just have control of that and sort of have it under your own roof. And people going off doing it, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So you might as well control it.
Yeah, or it will end up in an underground environment that we don't want.
Exactly. Like King of the Streets. I mean, that's come about. It's illegal. People want to do it, so they're going to do it regardless.
Yeah, it's very regulated. But I really hope that the MMA gets their thing and they find a way to slip in. And And just remember that they don't have to, if they become a member of NIF, or we call the board of the National Athletics Department, the athletics organization, whatever, then they cannot be professionals. If you become professional there, you're out, because it's the amateur rules that are set there. So why not just go different ways?
But I guess the door kind of opens for them from you guys as well, because I guess there is a lot of MMA fighters in Norway that might come into your doors and perform bare knuckle boxing.
I think they will at some point. Yeah, like I said, they always do in England. I mean, I own mixed martial arts gym in England. We put on mixed martial arts shows ourselves for our gym, and you always get lads wanting to cross over because it suits them better. It's shorter rounds. They're used to fighting with pretty much nothing on their hands anyway, and they're not running the risk of injury through the submissions that they go through. A lot less likely to get hurt in bare knuckle boxing than they are. And I picked up loads of injuries when I was training MMA when I was a bit younger. Bare knuckle boxing, not much.
We have a little bit easier as well because we can also slide in on the boxing rules, and that's the problem for them, that they don't have any old school rule set that they can just slam in the table and say, okay, we do this. So Norway's complicated, man. So it's not angry with us anymore because we haven't done anything wrong. we love MMA, so we follow their careers, so I hope they don't follow us being angry. So
I shouldn't see why they should. I mean, I get competition and
have you seen an Norwegian MMA site on Facebook?
I'm sorry?
Have you seen the MMA site on Facebook in Norway?
Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a little bad. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that should all turn around once they see it and is able to follow it.
I think it will as time goes on. I mean, you always get in England, the boxing sort of people, the boxing purists aren't massive fans of BKB. It's just something new, and it's something sort of they feel stepping on the toes in some way, shape, or form. It's just something, I don't know. They'll get used to it at some point.
Yeah, but I really feel sorry for them because they have been fooled so much from this government that they've been told to gather the clubs. I think they've gathered 75 clubs and there's nothing happening. They're doing all this work and they never get to the things that they want. So it's, I see why they're pissed off.
And I feel like I'm in a great position because I'm kind of in the middle of both of you. I'm born and raised in England and I moved over to Sweden. And I could definitely say that the Scandinavians don't like new things directly. It goes straight to hate when it goes to new things. So I hope it will just die down and they'll get used to it and be with you guys.
Yeah, and the most, what everybody in there is, when you start an association, if in boxing or MMA, there's one thing you got to set. That's the fighters that you are there for. It's to safeguard the fighters the best as you can as you go along. And if boxing would use more of their time to take care of their fighters instead of going after MMA and bare knuckle boxing and Thai boxing, they probably would have saved some lives. So they're not prioritizing the right thing that they've actually promised from the start. So I hope the best for MMA and wish them good luck.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw over to both of you to give me 3 words to describe Ragnarok BKB. We'll go with Andrew first.
3 words. Must
put you on the spot here.
Greatest show on earth. That's 4 words.
No, we'll take that. We'll squeeze them together.
Man, we can take Vikings, and we can take adrenaline, and we can take safe.
Those are 3 powerful words there as well. All right, we're coming to the end of the podcast, so this is usually the time that I give the mic over to our guests to give thanks to any family, friends, sponsors, or anything like that. So, Stan, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I can start by thanking me. Thanking me and thanking Andrew. The problem is when you start a totally new sport like in Norway, because there's never been this in Norway. So you have to learn as you go along. So I would like to thank the Norwegian Professional Boxing Association for lending us a few tips. and also to Andy. Without Andy, I wouldn't be the Viking going around drunk in England with a good plan. So that's. Yeah, and the people that we want to thank, of course, the girls that we got on up that's doing all the streaming and everything. But there will be more people to thank. It's just we have done everything ourselves and being a little ego about it. So it's not too many to thank right now. But and all the guys who put us on podcasts around the world, we wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for them. So, or
You're
you,
very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to say thanks to Stan, the two girls, Eva and Kaya, everyone who's working hard in the company. I say thank you to my missus because she's on the couch staring at me, putting up with my shit. Everyone who's supporting the show and everyone who's done anything to sort of help us, like Shannon, helping bringing sponsors and anybody who's been helping us along the way, it's massively appreciated. We won't be able to do it with any all the help we've had.
Yeah, and as I should be saying as well, as when we are going around, like in Poland, when we're starting a show there in October, we have the Fylkesman, he's opening the whole show, and we're just being deducted as almost saints down there, and the same in South Africa, and loving the rules that have been sent out. So it's the rest of the world has been pretty amazing. So
best shout out to sponsors as well, Stan, Look the Coin, and any other sponsors that you can think of. Just dealt with all that.
Yeah, of course, it's been hard getting Norwegian sponsors because you don't know if it was supposed to be allowed or not. So now we know that. So we have a big sponsor maybe coming in here from Norway, a very big one. We can't say anything because we haven't confirmed it right yet. It's about this 1 or 2 days, maybe we will know. But we have a big company, a crypto company called Coin, that has been big, and a few of my small sponsors, which I promised to sponsor the show now, they have come on, and we're set to go, and of course we have placed more sponsors, but that will happen when we get out of this country.
And Andrew, where can we find your gym?
A town called Bolton, just outside of Manchester in England. Anarchy Martial Arts is called. Myself and Stephen Wiggins on it. He's a great guy, great grappling coach, boxing coach. Yeah, shout out to everyone at Anarchy Martial Arts.
There we go, everyone. All information for the event, Ragnarok Bare Knuckle Boxing, sending live from Kristiansand Congress Center, 21st of August, will be found down below or up above or wherever you're listening to the podcast. There'll be links to where you can buy the pay-per-view and where you can get all the information as well.
Yeah, and just mention the Facebook side. We have Ragnarok on Facebook, Instagram, and we also have Ragnarok BKF.com. We have WBKF.tv, which is the World Bare Knuckle Fighting TV. So it's that's the links you want to go to, and check out our site. You will find links to tickets and everything, and great interviews and beautiful pictures of me.
All right, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on, mate. I really appreciate it. Cheers.